Real quick, this is my alt channel, and my main channel is in danger every day of getting banned as a result of talking with these amazing people very candidly. So please do me a favor and subscribe down below. Helps me out a lot. Get the hell on it, doggone it. Debbie Manassi says, I don't really date younger women, but when I was her age, that's what I'm looking at. Yeah, I 100% agree. Thank you, Debbie McNasty. I love you. I appreciate you. Give me some love in the chat. Got 3 $100 Rumble rants from Doobie. That is insane droppage, my man. Insane. We're going to put you on the car 3 times for the next NASCAR race we do. So make sure you're watching on FS1. Thank you, Doobie. I appreciate that so much, dude. Doobie's the man with a plan today. So a good thing to follow that up with, what you were talking about, was women will get frustrated with interest or not really understand like an overt passion or an interest that a man has that they consider kind of silly. And I have a great example of that because I've had women that would travel like to a race with me, and kind of I'm like, it's like I'm in the zone. I'm getting in cars, we're testing, we're practicing, we're changing setups, we're in meetings all day, like from 7 a.m. until nighttime. And I've had women that are like, I can't do this. I can't. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't do? All you do is like ride or fly with me, and then you just sit there and you get to watch all this, and then we go home. Like, dude, that's the whole deal. And it's like they can't really understand why it's such a big deal. It leads me to understand why, because you think like you're hot shit. You're doing some stuff, makes you think personally like, damn, I got a lot going on. But then you realize how it's possible for like professional athletes that are getting divorced at a high rate. And it's because just women they don't care about this profession or interest level of stuff. They just don't care. It's very strange. You think, dude, if I met a girl that was like a race car driver and she was really passionate and she was good, I'd be like, this is the coolest shit I've ever seen in my life. Like,
yeah.
Holy shit.
Well, that's why girls like Hannah are so interesting, because like, okay, you're interested in like cool stuff and you're genuinely good at it from what I understand. So it's not just some girl who's play acting to get likes on social media. It seems like that's just her way of life, which is awesome. It's authentic, which is so rare now. And with things like professional athletes, like with that's a job. So I can understand like that should be obvious why they're so into what they do. When it's hobbies, okay, maybe that's slightly different because you're not necessarily earning money from it. If a guy fucking goes fishing for the day or whatever, or he flies like model airplanes or something like that, you're not making money out of that. That's not your job. That's just something you're interested in. And if your girlfriend doesn't share that interest, then I can see why she would have a tough time, taking part. But she could at least understand, hey, this matters to me. This is my thing. It's what I like to do, and it's important. So just support me, or at least don't get in my way. But I don't know, man. It's just odd. Like it's the classic problem of a person who doesn't have any interests and maybe doesn't have any real personality being mad and jealous for other people who do. That's what it seems to be.
Yeah, that's a great point. Is somebody in the chat, Endemis brings it up, that some girls will falsely do it. So some girls they'll be so interested in what you're doing. They'll be like, they'll like stand by your side and be like, yes. And then it becomes their entire personality. And then as soon as they like either you don't hang out anymore, you break up, they will never pay attention to it again. I've had girls that followed my racing career and followed me following other people's racing career, like a book, until they weren't involved with me anymore. And they haven't even looked at an update for what is going on in the racing world since the day they like stopped talking to me. And I'm like, you were never really into the thing. You were only into the thing because I was into the thing, which is very, very disingenuous. And one of the weirdest things, and I come back to this on almost every show, I mentioned it eventually at some point, but I went through the ringer in like 2018, 2017. Yeah, 2017 and 2018, I was on Tinder. And I've deleted it 4 or 5 years ago now, but I was really heavily on it, and I was hanging out with girls every day. I was like super cut. I owned my own house, which is all that mattered back then. And I was hanging out with a girl every other day. And I found out the uncomfortable truth that maybe it's just the area, or maybe it's just the age group, but they were all so similar. They all their interest was Netflix. which is not an interest in my opinion. And drinking, like wine and Netflix was their entire existence. That's all they did. And I'm like,
I can get behind one of those things.
yeah, I can get behind the drinking. But like, is there like, do you like art? Like, just art is universally an interest. Do you even like that? At least start with music or something. But it's like, no, just watching TV. Like, holy shit, man. And I found this out about every girl I hung out with, and they were always really attractive. That all they did was they had no interest. And I'm like, how are you 25 years old and you have no interest? Dude,
I don't get that.
I was calming my interest at 12 when I started finding out that I was like an actual person with a mind and freedom. I was like, wow, wait a second. I want to play guitar. And my mom found a guitar in a storage unit that had one string on it. And I was 12 years old. And I remember, without tuning the guitar or anything, you had one string. I grabbed it and I started like plucking that one string and learning like super basic stuff. Like I remember playing Smoke on the Water, like the bump, 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 bump.
To this day, I can play an E flat like nobody else.
Yeah, yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
And I played with that thing for like 2 weeks, and then I saved up my lunch money until I had $20, which took about 2 weeks, and I bought a trash guitar from one of my friends because he had like a trash extra guitar, and it had 6 strings on it, and then I started playing it, and then I saved my lunch money for a month, and then bought another guitar, and I just started playing, and that was, I was 12, 13 years old. And then I started getting into racing, and I have all these things, like 5 different, like really heavy interests that I love getting into. And then I get to where I'm hanging out with all these girls, and what's the difference? Like, why did I have the urge to just do all this like different stuff? And all these girls I've hung out with almost exclusively, with the exception of 1 or 2, none of them have any interest. Like, how do you even get through daily life without focusing on I don't know, man. It's weird.
I don't know. Like, I guess maybe when you're socially motivated, it takes up so much of your time or so much of your focus that you just don't really make time for other stuff. But yeah, it's a weird one that I can't really rationalize, because I can't put myself into their headspace and understand how they see the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you, it's like, the world is this fucking fantastic banquet that's laid out before you, and you can pick and choose the things that are interesting to you and try them. Why wouldn't you? Because you don't get that many years on this planet to try it. Of course, you're going to want to like have all this stuff that you can do. Why wouldn't you? So yeah, it's hard for me to understand people who don't do that.
Yeah, I'm a yes man. Like when the guy called me and was like, "Hey, you want to test the Daytona and get your NASCAR license? Maybe if you get approved." I'm like, yes. Yeah. I'm on my way. And every time anybody pops up, I'm like, yes. When my buddy Brett was like, come down to Tim Pool's compound and do the PCC show. And then like, hey, maybe you should talk to Tim about NASCAR. And I'm like, okay. And then I did it. And it continues to work out. I think if a lot of people just get so afraid of failing. And I know a girl personally that I don't associate with now, but back in the day, her biggest fear was failing, so she tried nothing ever.
Yeah,
because you can't fail if you're not trying. So I guess it makes sense, logically.
I mean, it's true, but yeah, it's such a sad way to live, because man, like nobody achieved anything by turning down opportunities,
right?
It's like I say, it's just that whole idea of like experiment and trying new things in life. Like, it's all there for you. If you get the chance, you should always take it.
100%. Absolutely, 100%.